Now, Storm Watch 12 weather with meteorologist Josh Culbreath.
Well, it is starting to get pretty blustery around the coast this midday as we've had winds gusting upwards of 40 miles per hour in Curry County, and some of this starting to spread into the Shasta Valley and for the east side. For central Siskiyou County, we do have a wind advisory that is in place from 11 a.m., so it's already in place until 8 p.m. this evening. Some of those winds could gust upwards of 60 to 70 miles per hour along the coast, so trees that are dead or weak, that are in saturated soil, could easily be uprooted, and that could eventually lead to some spotty power outages. So it's going to be during the evening, really the late evening, where we'll see the peak wind gusts, because that is when we'll see the peak intensity from this atmospheric river, which continues to flow right into California and Oregon and Washington. So for the time being, most of this is along and west of the Cascades. Some showers starting to get into Klamath Falls, but a little bit later today, you can see that everything's going to start to spread a little bit more to the east. And by the time we get to around 5 p.m., you're starting to see some of these yellows popping up on the map, representing some heavier rainfall from this atmospheric river, and that will continue to move inland into the overnight hours. And by the time we're looking at midnight, we're going to be looking at a pretty nasty scene across southern Oregon and northern California. And then in a Friday morning, more showers lingering, but we're starting to dry out just a little bit. That trend will continue into the afternoon and evening. And by the time we're at 5 p.m., you can see just a few showers on the east side for Siskiyou County, but will continue to dry out into the evening. And then it's looking like most of us are going to be dry for both Saturday and for Sunday. And it's going to end up being a pretty nice Easter weekend. Here's some of these projected rainfall totals through Friday afternoon, and it's very clear that the coast and Cascades are going to be the winner, and those two areas could see a very marginal risk of some localized flooding, especially in and around some of those smaller streams. And snow levels are going to be so high, upwards of 5,000 to 6,000 feet over the next 48 hours. So that's only going to add to the flooding risk up in the Cascades, because we could have some rain falling on top of existing snowpack. So the biggest snowfall totals and the most impactful snowfall totals are going to be above 5,000 feet. So places like Crater Lake could see upwards of a foot to a foot and a half of snow. So that's going to be good for the snowpack. But if you go down just about 500 to 1,000 feet in elevation, we're going to have substantially less. So in terms of impacts to travel because of the snow, I think it could get a little dicey on Oregon 140, maybe a few inches for Snowman Summit. Of course, it's going to look pretty rough up in the Cascades, but for the west side, it's not going to be looking that rough at all. So for today, the atmospheric river moving inland, winds starting to pick up, and it's going to crescendo as we head into the overnight hours, and then we'll gradually dry out into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That'll be a nice weekend, and then we are tracking another storm system for Monday. So we'll talk about that in a second. But first, the weekend looking very nice, very warm. Small shower chances for Easter Sunday. But look at this. We could potentially crack 70 degrees for the first time this year. So pretty appropriate that it's happening on a day like Easter. But then into Monday, temperatures going down as we have another wet storm system. That's going to drop snow levels. That's going to drop temperatures. So many details to work out with this one, but it should just be on your radar. Here's that 7-day forecast for the coast. We'll see winds today, maybe some localized flooding there along the coast, and then gradually drying out into the weekend, making a run for 60 degrees by the time we get to Easter. For Siskiyou County, remember, we have that wind advisory that's in place for central Siskiyou County. It goes from 11 a.m. this morning to 8 p.m., but then over the weekend, maybe also we could touch 70 degrees, even in the Shasta Valley. And then for the east side, winds also blustery today, gusting between 50 to 60 miles per hour, and then winds starting to calm down into Friday, and then maybe getting up into the middle 60s by the time we get to Easter. For the Cascades and Siskiyous, adding to the snowpack today, but then we'll start to take away from it over the next few days after that, just because it will be so warm. We might even see a little bit of sunshine over the weekend too. And then for the Rogue Valley, wet and windy today, drying out into Friday, and then 60s and 70s for the weekend.
For people who are maybe hoping to travel to see family, friends this weekend for their holiday weekend ahead, is this storm something that's going to impact roadways so significantly that they might want to reconsider travel plans?
I don't think so. I think maybe we could have, I have my snow sheet right here. So here are the ones I'm most concerned about. 4 to 6 inches for Snowman Summit, so that would be enough to cause a nuisance. 6 to 8 inches for Diamond Lake Junction, 6 to 8 inches for the Memorial Summit. That's about it though. Maybe 4 to 6 inches for Lake of the Woods. So enough to take it slow, enough for things to be a little bit slushy and icy out there, but I don't think it's even enough for there to be chain requirements or roadway closures. So if you're well versed at traveling in that kind of snow, then I think you should be fine.
Okay, definitely not the worst that we've seen this year.
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you, Josh.
Of course.